The Araneta Coliseum doesn't forget. The concrete walls still echo with pain, pride, and punishment from 50 years ago, when Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier emptied themselves into boxing history. On October 29, 2025, the building breathed again, alive with memory, expectation, and pressure. The kind that doesn't crack bones, but crushes minds. Nico Ali Walsh walked into that pressure, knowing something few fighters ever do. That before he threw a punch, half the crowd had already decided who he was supposed to be. Not just a boxer, not just a professional with wins and losses. And Ali, a name that rewrote how boxing moved, spoke, and sold itself to the world. But history doesn't fight for you. It watches. Across the ring stood Walsh Klinson, a fighter most of the crowd didn't know, and many didn't research. A Thai road warrior with rough edges, a forward march, and a career that didn't come with headlines or safety nets. Fighters like Klinson don't carry legacy, they carry urgency. He wasn't here to honor history. He was here to survive it, punch through it, and steal a moment that nobody thought belonged to him. 8 rounds, middleweight division, no belts, no excuses, just opportunity. The tail of the tape suggested advantage. The atmosphere suggested pressure. And pressure in boxing is never neutral, it always chooses a side. From the opening introductions, the contrast was clear. Ali Walsh fed off the crowd, the warmth, the connection to Manila, the spiritual loop connecting his grandfather's war to his own present. Klinson fed off none of that. No smiles, no gestures, just eyes locked forward. Fighters who feel outmatched often overperform early. Fighters carrying legacy often take time to settle. That dynamic surfaced the moment the bell rang. Klinson didn't probe. He didn't download data. He stepped forward and threw. Hard rights, heavy body shots, no respect, no hesitation. The kind of approach designed to erase pedigree and force reality. Ali boxed early, flicking the jab, sliding laterally, but something was missing: finality. The punches landed, but they didn't stop the advance. And that's when a quiet realization started creeping into the building. Klinson wasn't intimidated. He wasn't awed by the names stitched on the trunks. He didn't care that 50 years earlier, an Ali reshaped the sport on this canvas. He cared about the man in front of him. And as round 1 closed, that man was being pushed backward more often than expected. The crowd felt it. Commentary felt it. Boxing fans watching from home felt it. This wasn't dominance. This was resistance. Klinson had given no ground, and more importantly, he had planted doubt. Doubt doesn't show up on scorecards, but it spreads faster than blood. Ali Walsh adjusted in round 2, increasing jab volume, spearing uppercuts when Klinson leaned forward. There were flashes, clean shots that snapped heads back and drew roars from the stands. But Klinson absorbed them and came again, digging to the body, forcing exchanges near the ropes, making the fight physical instead of technical. And that's the quiet danger of pressure fights. They don't beat you quickly, they exhaust you emotionally. By the end of the early rounds, Ali Walsh wasn't losing decisively. But he wasn't commanding the space either. Klinson had done something dangerous. He had turned a legacy showcase into a contest. And once that happens, the script is gone. Momentum in boxing is rarely loud. It shifts subtly, through posture, through pacing, through how often a fighter chooses to reset instead of attack. As rounds 2 and 3 unfolded, Nico Ali Walsh began to find moments, sharp jabs, clean uppercuts, brief flurries that reminded everyone why he entered as the favorite. His footwork improved in open space, his timing sharpened when he stayed off the ropes. But every adjustment came with a counterweight. Klinson refused to stay where Ali wanted him. When boxed, he pressed. When pressured, he paused. When threatened, he changed rhythm. This was not the brawler everyone expected. This was a fighter thinking in real time. After an aggressive start, Klinson dialed it back just enough to preserve his legs. His jab appeared, long, sneaky, flicked from odd angles. It disrupted Ali's timing, forced hesitation, and bought seconds that mattered. Ali had prepared for forward pressure. He hadn't prepared for control through restraint. That's the danger of mid-fight adaptation. It doesn't announce itself. It creeps in and steals rounds quietly. The crowd noticed the shift. Where they once reacted to every Klinson charge, now they watched carefully, unsure who was dictating pace. Ali had moments of success, combinations that landed clean, uppercuts that punished Klinson's tendency to dip forward. But instead of capitalizing, he reset. Instead of pressing when Klinson slowed, he waited. And waiting is costly when judges are watching initiative. By the middle rounds, the fight entered an uncomfortable phase, not boring, unresolved. Klinson no longer stormed the ring, but he claimed space in bursts. Ali no longer boxed freely, but he landed the cleaner punches. The problem was volume. Neither fighter seized control, one conserved, the other hesitated. And boxing doesn't reward potential, it rewards execution. Fatigue began writing its signature on Klinson's shoulders first. His hands dropped slightly between exchanges. His combinations shortened, but fatigue also altered Ali's movement. The legs that danced early slowed, the lateral exits tightened. He stood his ground more, exchanging instead of escaping. Ironically, that benefited Klinson, whose entire strategy depended on close quarters and grit. The crowd roared during showmanship moments. Ali shuffles, gestures, brief taunts, but beneath the noise sat an uncomfortable truth. Style was replacing substance. Rounds 4 and 5 belonged to no one clearly. Klinson's jab stole moments. Ali's counters stole reactions. Judges were left counting subtleties. Who landed cleaner? Who controlled space? Who initiated? And this is where legacy pressure quietly suffocates fighters. Ali Walsh didn't need to survive. He needed to convince, and convincing requires urgency. Klinson sensed it. He waved Ali forward. He invited exchanges. Fighters do that when they know they're still alive on the cards. His output wasn't high, but his intent was unmistakable. He wasn't fading. He was pacing. Ali's corner urged activity. The instructions were clear. Jab more, move more, break rhythm. But inside the ring, decisions slow when confidence wavers. By the end of the middle rounds, the fight had transformed into something nobody predicted. Not dominance, not collapse. A stalemate built on adaptation, fatigue, and missed opportunities. And with championship rounds approaching, the most dangerous word in boxing hovered over the canvas: uncertainty. The 6th and 7th rounds revealed the truth boxing always exposes eventually. It's not about how hard you can hit when fresh. It's about what remains when the tank empties. Klinson's pressure had softened, but it hadn't disappeared. It had condensed. Single shots replaced combinations. Bursts replaced barrages. But every punch carried intent. Ali Walsh, sensing the slowing opponent, began to press more, finally stepping forward with purpose. The jab returned in sequence. Body shots appeared. For brief stretches, the fight tilted toward him. But timing is cruel. And moments don't always win fights when early rounds stay debatable. Klinson leaned into clinches. He disrupted flow. He complained to the referee, buying seconds. Small veteran tactics from a fighter who understood survival. Ali responded with frustration, gestures, taunts, moments of showmanship that energized the crowd but stalled momentum. The crowd loved it. Judges don't. By round 7, both men showed visible fatigue. Klinson's speed dipped noticeably. Ali's output rose, but with effort. Each punch required commitment. Each exchange demanded will. This was no longer about talent, it was about resolve. And resolve manifests differently. Klinson dug in, absorbing punishment and firing back singles. Ali searched for combinations that never fully arrived. The openings were there. The finishing instinct hesitated. This was the fight inside the fight. The part that doesn't replay cleanly on highlight reels. The part where fighters negotiate with exhaustion, pride, and fear of mistakes. Ali Walsh needed clarity. Klinson needed survival. Both succeeded, and that balance created the result nobody anticipated. As the final round loomed, the atmosphere shifted. The crowd didn't chant a name. They buzzed with anticipation. They sensed something unresolved. Both corners spoke urgently. Klinson was warned that points might not favor him. Ali was told this was the moment to leave no doubt. Boxing has no mercy for ambiguity in championship moments. Round 8 didn't explode. It tightened. Klinson moved less, punched selectively, clinched intelligently. Ali finally committed, pressing forward, throwing combinations with greater urgency. The cleaner shots came from Ali. The crowd reacted. Momentum tilted, but there was no knockdown, no defining exchange. Klinson bent, but didn't break. Ali's best moments came late. Combinations on the inside, body shots that forced clinches, visible dominance in spurts. But the bell arrived too soon. As it always does. Boxing doesn't ask whether you intended to win. It asks whether you did. When the final bell rang, there was no celebration, only uncertainty. Klinson raised a glove not in triumph, but in acknowledgement. Ali paced, confident, but not convinced. And that's the space where controversial decisions are born. The scorecards told the story boxing loves and hates. 77-75 Klinson. 76-76. 76-76. A majority draw. Gasps, murmurs, debate. Was it fair? Was it legacy bias neutralized? Was it missed opportunity? All at once. Ali Walsh spoke with class, gratitude and faith. Klinson smiled, not because he won, but because he survived expectation and walked out equal. And that's the irony. The fighter with nothing to lose gained credibility. The fighter with everything to prove gained questions. On sacred ground, history didn't repeat itself. It challenged the present. And boxing, as always, left the answer unfinished.